Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing the NBA trade deadline, where I talk about all the trades and grade them and just give my personal opinion on them. Starting off, the Hawks made a deal where they sent Vic Krejci. Atlanta sent Vic Krejci to the Portland Trailblazers, and Atlanta received Duop Reith, a 2020 second round pick, and a 2020 second round pick. I mean, I'll give this one like a C. The other two players I don't really know, but the picks, second round picks, will come and help. Granted, they're for like 2027, 2030. Atlanta, I think, is really just building up off of young players and picks, which is something I think they're going to do a lot. Just going into the offseason to make more trades in the future, because they are in the rebuilding phase. The next trade is the Cavaliers received Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and Emmanuel Miller. This was actually a really good trade. I like Keon Ellis. I wanted him on the Warriors. I'm a Warriors fan. I wanted him on the Warriors, but we didn't get him. Really, I don't know what we could have really gave up for him, but Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder, two guards who help off the bench with scoring. Cleveland, we're going to get to the Darius Garland trade, but Cleveland, I think, needed that depth. This would definitely help them in a playoff scenario of having that depth and not just hopefully not rely on Donovan Mitchell to just try to get them 40 every game. Then Chicago received center Dario Saric. I probably said that completely wrong. But then they got a 2027 second round pick and a 2029 second round pick. Chicago received a lot of picks throughout this trade deadline. And then Sacramento received DeAndre Hunter, which is he was falling off this season. He's just a 3-and-D guy, which defensively he was all right this season. He wasn't that lockdown that he was the previous season when they got him from Atlanta. I already like DeAndre Hunter. To me, he's always felt like he could be a key piece to a championship team, which I think he's gonna probably sign with another team after this season. After he's probably gonna leave Sacramento. I don't think he's gonna stay there. But I'll give this one a B. I'll give it a B, because I like Cleveland adding depth, and right now just trying to get Donovan Mitchell help. At least just try to make it out of the Eastern Conference at this point. If they can get to the finals, I feel like that can give them that chance. Next, we have the Utah Jazz. This was a big trade. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So, Utah receives Jaren Jackson Jr., Jock Landon, John Concher, and Vince Williams Jr., when Memphis receives Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Tyler Hendricks, George Neon, and 3 future first-round picks. This is really, I like it for both teams. I like this. I'm gonna grade this one an A. Utah got Jaren Jackson Jr. I think giving up those 3 future first rounders, when I thought Utah would have probably wanted to hold on to them, since if they're rebuilding. But you got Jaren Jackson Jr. You add that to a Utah team, which I think can be really solid next season. Like, I'm going to be talking a lot of future tense about these teams, because we're already about to be at the midway point of the season. So a lot of these teams should probably already start looking into next season. Like Utah, I think if they go in the right direction, they could be a play-in team next year. And what they're finna build off of. You got Jaren Jackson Jr. It's not clicking to me who else is on their team right now. Larry Marketing, there we go. Larry Marketing. And a couple other pieces that's not just clicking to my head right now. But for Memphis to get Walter Clayton Jr., they got Kyle Anderson back, Tyler Hendricks, George Neon, and 3 future first-round picks. That is really good for them. And I think in a situation, or a scenario rather, where they want to keep Ja, this is actually a good start. Because you have to remember, even though Ja, I think he's happy in Memphis, it's just more of the front office wanting to get rid of him, and the coaching staff are their disagreements with Ja. But I think Ja wants to stay in Memphis. They can get him more help. You brought him another guard in Walter Clayton Jr., who, to me, I think can pan out very well. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Florida fan when it just comes to their sports in general. And I kind of felt like he was going to be good from when he was playing at Florida anyway. But he could be a solid 6-man for them. They can add another solid big with him in the offseason. in those 3 future first round picks, depending on how this season goes for them, they can get a top 5, top 10 pick, which I don't think they are. But just even this, if they're able to add a future young big to the team or even a future big, because they could flip those future first round picks for somebody else in the offseason. Maybe they could get Giannis in the offseason by using those 3 future first round picks. Because I was telling somebody during the deadline when we didn't know if Giannis was going to get traded or not, Memphis could have used this exact same package they just got from Utah to go get Giannis. And I think this could be a very similar deal if they do go out to get him. But like I said, I do grade this one an A. I really like this trade. Going on to the next one. The Pistons add Kevin Hunter. Oh, Dario Saric again. Damn, he got traded again. A 2026 first round pick. They got that. They received that. Okay, via Chicago. Okay. Detroit getting Kevin Hunter, who's another shooter and another big, helps them a lot. They needed somebody next to K who is not, I want to say, they need a secondary scorer almost. Like K is somebody who needs that secondary scorer. To add Hunter, you got Duncan Robinson. You have shooters now who it doesn't have to just always be K who has to get the ball and drop 40 every game. Or the ball always has to be in his hands. Like you're just adding shooters around him and other people who can score. And then they got a first round protected pick. But for them, I'll give that like a C, because it's adding solid depth and stuff to their team. Chicago receives Mike Conley Jr. and Jaden Ivey. I was so high on Jaden Ivey when he came into the league. He just did not pan out. He was battling injuries. Then when he came back, wasn't really getting the playing time. When he got the playing time, he wasn't really doing anything with it. He's a solid point guard who I think is going to be really good on that Chicago team. He had a solid first game when they played the Raptors. But him and I'll get to him later. Also, Rob Dillingham. I think they're gonna do really good, and they're great young players for Chicago and the Chicago team that's trying to rebuild. Minnesota did not get any players or draft picks from this trade, which is interesting. But Chicago, I give them a B because they cut Mike Conley. He went back to Minnesota. But the next trade is the Boston Celtics receives a future second round pick in Nikola Vucevic, and Chicago receives Anthony Simons in a future second round pick. They only got a second round pick. They couldn't get a first. Interesting. I knew Simon was gonna be gone. They had kind of talked about trading him basically almost as soon as they got him. Cause I was figuring when they started talking about trading him when he first got to Boston, I was like, they're probably gonna try to flip him for somebody. Cause granted, he's really good. I think the problem was how was him and Tatum gonna be able to play together when Tatum eventually comes back, probably next season. And for Boston to go out and get a big, which they really needed to after losing Al Horford in the offseason, just really not having the bigs that stepped up during the season. To go get Nikola, really good. I think Boston is going to be a problem when Tatum comes back. They're still a problem now, actually. They're hooping right now, matter of fact. I'll give this one a B, because like I said, this is something Boston really needed. The next one is the Los Angeles Clippers receives Darius Garland in a future second-round pick when Cleveland receives James Harden. I think James Harden is at this point at the tail end of his career. I don't really know why he wanted out of LA. They were doing pretty good. I knew Darius Garland was going to get traded at some point. I just didn't know when, and I did not think it would be for James Harden. Because he's young, because Darius Garland's young, I thought they could have got maybe better, even more for him. But they settled for James Harden. I don't know how to feel about the trade. I'll give it a B. Because it's James Harden at the end of the day, and at any point, we've seen he could turn up and then also play that point guard type of role. For him to be second to Donovan Mitchell, I think right now it's just like you almost just kept Donovan Mitchell in the exact same thing of just basically having Garland. Because everything Garland does, Harden does at this point in his career. And that is just playing a point guard role and scoring when needed. Like, when James Harden takes over a game, he takes over a game. But you just don't know what James Harden you're going to get. At the point, I think Cleveland's going to make the playoffs, so it just you don't know what James Harden you're going to get in the playoffs. And granted, I would always say the East is so wide open, so it could be anything for the East. Like, anybody can come out of the East at this point. Charlotte is on a winning streak right now. So it's very interesting to see. Like, I've been so taken aback. I have never really sat down and like fully broke down how each of these players can work on each of these teams. Because they ain't gonna lie, all these trades were catching me off guard. But I like for LA to get. They also got a future second round pick out of it, which is good for the Clippers. The Clippers are such a good but bad franchise at a lot of things. I don't even know where to start with how they're not really that good at developing talent, and I can keep going on how bad they're just at drafting and getting talent on that team in general. Granted, they've been able to bring stars to the teams like James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George in the past. There's gonna be another trade that they made that I'm not really understanding with, but this was an okay trade because it's almost just a trade up for another. It's just a trade up for a trade up. Like, hey, here's Darius Garland, here's James Harden. The fact that they had to throw in a second round pick is kind of interesting, but I can understand why LA wanted a second round pick. Cleveland should have asked for the second round pick. Darius Garland is younger. Who knows? The next trade, Dallas trading Anthony Davis. So Washington receives Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Deontay Exam. Dallas receives Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Tyus Jones, Marvin Bagley, 2 future first-round picks, and 3 future second-round picks. Oh, and Charlotte's a part of this trade, too. They received Malachi Burnham. I said Burnham. This a lot to break down here. Ain't gonna lie, now that I actually get to see, like, the full on trade, this is not a bad trade for Dallas. Because you're rebuilding. You have to think about it. If you're rebuilding and you know Cooper Flagg is your number one guy going into the foreseeable future, you were not really the best team right now. If you can get top 10 picks and get to pair up those top 10 or top 5 picks with Cooper Flagg and whatever you add on in the offseason, this may sound crazy, but trading Luka might have set them up for them to have a really good future. Granted, the Luka trade I think is one of the worst trades in history, but I feel like because if you don't make that trade, then you don't get Cooper Flagg. And then it's interesting because I have a hot take that granted, I'm actually kind of take back that it was the worst trade in history. I think it can go down as the worst trade in history if Dallas doesn't do anything, I would say, in the next 5 years or 10 years. If Cooper Flagg doesn't get them a championship, doesn't get them at least to the finals, because if Cooper Flagg takes them to the finals, then it almost beats the Luka trade because Luka took them to the finals. He didn't win. If Cooper Flagg takes them to the finals and win, then it beats the Luka trade. Even if he takes them to the finals, it might beat the Luka trade. Because they traded a generational talent and end up getting a generational talent still. So, just something to think about and look into. It's not the worst trade ever because to see what Dallas is setting themselves up for. Washington, the pair of Anthony Davis, they got Trae Young earlier in the season, of course. Fully healthy, that team could have actually been something. I don't know how Washington could look pretty solid next season. They're gonna buy out D'Angelo Russell, so he's not gonna play for them. But you have Jaden Hardy, Exam, and Anthony Davis. And then, like I said, fully healthy, you'll have Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Alex Sarr. There's some other pieces on that team that's actually young and pretty solid. The fact that Washington had to give up almost their future, granted, they still got some first-round picks, second-round picks, but they gave up 2 future first-round picks and 3 future second-round picks. It's not the worst thing ever, but it just questions what they looking into what their future can be. Next, we have Oklahoma City receives Jared McCain when the Philadelphia 76ers receive a 2026 first-round pick and 3 future second-round picks. I don't know why they traded Jared McCain. I literally just made a video on the 76ers, so this makes me even more mad. I don't understand why they traded him over there. Like, it doesn't make logical sense on why they would do that. I'll give the trade an A, of course, for Oklahoma. Philly, I'll give it a B because they got 3 future second-round picks. But yeah, but I'll give it an A for Oklahoma. Philly, I'll give them a B. They got a first-round pick for 2026 and a guaranteed first-round pick and 3 future second-round picks. It's to add. I think it's more for them to add to what they have with VJ Edgecombe and Maxey. I think at some point Joel Embiid can be traded for more picks and maybe more solid younger players. Because I was Philly at this point, I might blow it up. Depending on how this season goes. If we get eliminated in like the play-in, if they fall into the play-in or make it out, if they lose in the first round, you look at what you have and then see what you want to do. You make it to the second round or even by some god of miracle to the Eastern Conference Finals, then you might want to be like, okay, let's keep what we have and add on to it. That's what I think about that trade, though. Next, Charlotte receives Kobe White and Mike Conley Jr. Kobe White's really good. I do think they have a legitimate team going into next season. Yeah, but I think Charlotte is a team that's going to be really good next season and can actually make a push. I think they can be a 5th or 4th seed going into next season, or not going into next season, but next season in general. Depending on what they do with LaMelo, because I think his career is coming to an end there, and I think that's probably why they could have got Kobe White, because they know they could trade LaMelo soon. So we'll see. I gotta do a video on my opinion on all the teams in the East and the West. Next trade is Atlanta receives Jake London and Utah receives Lonzo Ball and 2 future second-round picks. That's actually really good. Like, not really good. I would say it's good for you. I don't know how they pulled up the finesse of getting 2 future second-round picks for Jake Lundell, my bad. Nah. Lonzo Ball is whatever. He could come and go. That don't matter. The fact that Utah was able to finesse up 2 future second-round picks, really good for them. Like I said, they're building up on picks. I'll give it a C. But I can't remember if I graded the Kobe White one. I give that one a B. An A for Charlotte. I'll give it a C for Chicago. Granted, Chicago actually got 3 future second-round picks out of that Kobe White trade, which is picks are getting thrown around here. Next, the Golden State Warriors received a 2026 second-round pick, and we traded Jackson Davis to the Toronto Raptors. I understand why we did it, because we got another big man in return later on down the line. But it's a solid. I like the pick. We need more picks anyway. We're about to be rebuilding very soon. Because the next trade is also about us again. We received Kristaps Porzingis, and we traded Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield. I wish we could have just did a straight-up trade with just Jonathan Kuminga and Porzingis. I don't know why we had to trade Buddy Hield. Because I don't know who else is going to shoot the ball other than Curry. I'm going to be so honest with you. I do not know who's going to shoot that ball now. We just signed Pat Spencer to a full deal, but I don't know. I don't know why we had to throw Buddy Hield in there. I like Porzingis. If he could be healthy, we can be a problem with him. But he has not played majority of the games. I think he's been out for 16 games now at this point, or 17. So if we can get healthy, because he's hurt coming to the team, and Steph Curry's been hurt. If we can get fully healthy going into the playoffs, granted, I think we're going to be a play-in team again. Which at this point, you play, you got to play. We get play-in the playoffs, I don't really care. Hopefully we can put ourselves in a position to win. Hopefully we can stay healthy, get everybody back, and just see how this team performs. And I'm excited because I like Porzingis. He brings in great space flooring for the team. He can shoot the three ball. He plays solid defense. Not the best, but he plays solid defense. He'll help out 40-man-year-old Al Horford out there, who has been just not that good this season. I think he needs to hang it up. But I'm okay with this trade. I know a lot of Warriors fans got upset that we traded Buddy Hield and everything like that, but I'm okay with this trade. I'll give it a B. I'll give Atlanta's on a B too, because they got Jonathan Kuminga, who is a really talented, and I think someone who could pan out for them really good. Now, Minnesota receives, I'm going to pronounce his name very wrong, Ayo Domasima? Why did I say Mima? Then Jalen Phillips. Chicago receives Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and 4 future second-round picks. They got a lot from Minnesota. They got 4 future second-round picks, and they got Rob Dillingham, who balled for them out in that first game he played. That he just needed the minutes, which I don't know why Minnesota did not give it to him, because I thought he was going to be the replacement for once Mike Conley retired, but Mike Conley, it's taking forever to do that, so it just got to the point where they traded Rob Dillingham. Chicago, I gotta see how many picks they got all together, because they have a lot. I'll give it a C for Minnesota. I mean, I know Ayo is pretty solid. Jalen Phillips, I have not seen that man. Rob Dillingham and Leonard Miller. I know Leonard Miller is actually really not really solid, but kind of solid. He could be a solid piece for them. But the 4 future second-round picks is huge, and Rob Dillingham is huge. So Chicago, I'll give you an A for that one. Minnesota, you get a C. Then the Los Angeles Lakers receive Luke Kennard, while Atlanta receives Gabe Vincent in the 2032 second-round pick. I'm gonna be honest with you, Atlanta, you get an F. I don't know who in their right mind wanted Gabe Vincent. I've never seen somebody hit the front of the rim from shooting the three-pointer in the corner so much. I don't understand how you do that. Gabe Vincent, I think, is probably one of the worst basketball players I've seen this season. But you got a second-round pick in 2032. You got... I hate these picks that are so far into, like, the years, bro, because I don't know how this helps you. The Lakers honestly could have kept the pick. I don't know why they even had to throw that one in there. They probably wouldn't Gabe Vincent straight up, but I'm giving Atlanta an F. I'll give the Lakers I'll give them a C. Luke Kennard is actually really good. He came in the game against us and was shooting from the logo almost. So they just traded a better shooter for an absolute hot dog water garbage shooter of Gabe Vincent. When he's like, he can only, I think, shoot threes when he plays for the Miami Heat. The Bucks did something interesting. They traded Cole Anthony and Amari Coffin to the Phoenix Suns. Chicago received Nick Richards, and Milwaukee received Nigel Hayes Davis and Ousmane Dieng. Interesting. I did not think they were going to trade Cole Anthony after 1 season. Granted, that man was not hooping at all. He was barely getting playing time. Milwaukee did end up signing Cam Thomas recently. I think they signed him yesterday. Cam Thomas is actually going to be really good for them. he should be really good for them is the key word. I'll give Milwaukee a C. Phoenix, I don't know what to give Phoenix on, but they absolutely suck. I'll give Phoenix a D. Cause I don't see any of the for Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a D, Phoenix is a D, and Chicago gets a D because I don't see how any of these players are gonna ever like prosper for them, unless they know something I don't. The Pelicans traded Joves Alvarado to the New York Knicks. They got Dalen Terry, 2 second-round picks, and some money basically. And then the New York Knicks just got him. I feel like you have to give up a lot of picks for players, especially like people who are just gonna come off the bench. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I gotta talk to somebody about this because 2 second-round picks for somebody who's gonna like I literally just said, come off the bench for you. Granted, he's a 6-man. He'll be a good 6-man. That's interesting. I give New York a C because Alvarado's a great defender for like a point guard and his height and his size. He is a great defender. Pelicans, the best thing you got out of this was the 2 second-round picks. So I'll give you that. Next is the Indiana Pacers receives Zubac and Kobe Brown when the Clippers get Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Johnson, 2 future first-round picks and a future second-round pick. This is really good for the Clippers. If they can do something with this, they have something. Benedict Mathurin, who played really good in the finals last year, in that playoff run in general. Isaiah Jackson, who's a solid center. 2 future first-round picks and a future second-round pick. I give them an A for that one, actually. I like Benedict Mathurin. He's been one of my favorite players, top 10 players probably right now. This probably last 2 to 3 seasons. 2 seasons, yeah, I'll give him 2 seasons. He's been my favorite for like these. I kind of started growing on him during that playoff run, so I'll just give him the last 2 seasons. Here's my thing with the Clippers though, which I was gonna come back to from earlier, is I don't know why trade Zubac. Granted, once I actually see what they really got for him, I actually kind of take back everything I said. You know, I didn't know if it was true or not that they really did trade Benedict. I just saw that Zubac got traded. I didn't see the full package of who they got from the Clippers. So that's actually my first time actually seeing this. I did not think the Pacers would trade Benedict Mathurin, to be honest with you. But very interesting. I like this trade for the Clippers. Like I said, I get them an A. I'll give the Pacers a B actually because fully healthy once you get Tyrese Halliburton back and everything like that. They're gonna be a pretty good team. They got Zubac. They have a legit center now. Kobe Brown, who is someone he was prospering on the Lakers, but you can see how much he can do. I guess off the bench as like the 7th or 8th man. Yeah, and that's actually it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was all chaotic. I gotta start doing better at going in depth, but I definitely got you guys as better content is gonna be coming out. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a very, very blessed day.